A Hand, a Door by Vanessa Onwuemezi. I had already begun moving when she asked me to follow her. Something smooth in the roll of her pupils, the curl of her mouth, and the quickness of her head had said, "Follow," and then she said the words, "Follow me." I was already moving, but still too slow. I'd fallen 2 or more doors behind her. The doors swung back and forth, making that flapping, pumping sound I imagine the regular backdrop of machine industries long gone, our mothers, fathers, and his fathers, bread and butter, food on the table, pension, concerns, voting, death, and downfall. And she, ahead of my thoughts, her eyes aflirt, but she moved too quickly. The doors flapped air into my face. She was way ahead. Each door opened to a passageway, and 2 other doors at the other end. I had to choose between them, as she had chosen before me. I could no longer hear the difference between the flapping of the doors ahead and the flapping, pumping, thumping of the doors that swung in my wake, but under the spittle of lamplight I could see the grease mark of her hand on the doors. She had chosen the passageways between the doors for very short. I noticed then the greasy handprint of her fangs, feasts, phones, franking, fingers is what I meant, appeared on all doors, and I was unable to follow in the direction she had travelled, the sound of swinging heavy wood in my ears, and then the hand marks were double hands as I or she passed the same points again and again. To leave a trail, I pulled the threads of my jumper and I tied them around the door handles. Then as I carried on, the threads appeared on all the door handles. As if I tied them, it couldn't have been me. Mine. At one point, the swing swipe of the door reminded me of a horse's jaw chewing, and then a plastic horse, a toy I'd had long ago. Perched in front of the next door was a little horse carved out of bone, and above it, the hardened grease of my hand over hand, maybe her hand, had become a real hand. My real hand, that's what I meant. It was mine. Pressed flat onto the door, I touched it with my finger. It was made of flesh. My hand. I grew a fear that behind the next door would be another confrontation, a memory like the bone horse. As I moved, the labyrinth yawned on. I shouted her name, and the sound too echoed on. No way back. Now I knew it was all the same. I would relive and relive the first doors and the last, the ones just past and those left far behind, because there was no behind. The fear moved. I moved faster. Faster the labyrinth was becoming. My hand pressing doors, knocking doors. As I went, I hurt myself. Stopped and looked, had a closer look at the flick, the fling, the thing, the flesh. The flesh of the hand is what I meant. It existed in and of itself. Fingers, nails, and bone. It wasn't me, it was a lie. And it became a true lie. I knocked the door, bang, bang, and she who I had followed was more than absent. She had left the doors to swing, swing, swing in my face, to be confronted with it. Myself, my meat, its nails, its touch. It and its own fingers. It thought, and then I thought. Myself, a labyrinthine series of opening and closing doors, and my flat hand forever knocking.